go. We're rolling.
It's a beautiful morning here in Portola Valley, California. We're on a job site that will turn out to be one of the greenest homes in this area. And we're here with Ann Edminster to talk a little bit about integrated design. Because integrated design is a key component of green building. But Ann, we hear the term a lot, but what does integrated design mean to you?
When I think of integrated design, I think of taking the opportunity to bring together all the disciplines involved in a project early and often, so that there are opportunities to explore synergies between the disciplines, to benefit from the knowledge and wisdom and experience of all the disciplines, and perhaps above all, for each discipline to understand how his or her work interacts with that of the other professionals.
So can you do a green building without integrated design?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I think you can. It's just harder.
And so we talked a little bit about why integrated design. It sounds as though, in terms of getting a home that's really high performance, integrated design is critical.
I think so. I think the more ambitious your goals with respect to integrated or to green building, the more important integrated design is, because when you're building, especially a custom home like this one, you're out there on the site, you're not doing a prototype first. This is it.
And so you said when you're building, I thought we were talking about integrated design. Is integrated design just about the design of the building, or is it more about the whole construction process?
Well, it's interesting because integrated design is certainly the term we hear most often, and generally that's held to mean the interactions among the design professionals, so architect, structural engineer, mechanical engineer, lighting, electrical, landscape, and so on and so forth. However, integrated design is really a subset of a larger process, an integrated planning process that spans from design all the way through to construction, and ideally wraps in the construction disciplines as well, because those are the folks who have to understand how to make the building come out of the ground, and if their wisdom is fed in early on, that's absolutely critical too.
So that's a little bit about the why of integrated design. How do you actually accomplish it in a project? How do you take and make it into a whole thing? Because there's a lot of pieces, right?
Absolutely. Well, this is an interesting part because I've often observed that integrated design looks messy. It requires a relatively high tolerance for something that may appear to be chaotic, disorganized, may require revisiting decisions. However, my belief is that this seemingly disorganized, chaotic process is actually the more efficient means to the end, and it requires getting everybody in a room around a big table or some forum like that and really hashing through the major design decisions and often minor ones. So, in a more conventional design process or planning process, the architect conceives of the design, hands off to the structural who figures out how to make it stand up. The structural hands off, or back to the architect, then it's handed off to the mechanical who needs to figure out how to make the building comfortable. It's handed off at some stage to an interior designer, to the landscape designer, each adding their work in sequence. However, often each discipline inherits problems created by the other, and so their job is progressively to mediate between those problems.
And so when you said an important thing, which is that it can be a linear process. Is there anything special about integrated design in building as opposed to integrated design in making a car?
No, absolutely not. In fact, a big aha for me about integrated design was a couple of years after I had finished the stint chairing the Lead for Homes development process. I realized, oh, that was an integrated design process. We were developing a system or program, but it's arguably universal to any design process. But with buildings, of course, again, you don't have the opportunity to prototype. So you take your paper, you go out in the field, and you get one chance to get it right, or make mistakes and very expensively remedy those mistakes.
So that's an interesting thing. You said expense. I mean, integrated design sounds like a pretty expensive process.
Well, again, I think it can be. Certainly, there's more investment in the intellectual capital up front, but the point is to come out with a higher performing artifact the first time out of the gate. Again, without the opportunity to prototype and iterate on the actual object that you're creating. And so it's a heck of a lot less expensive to learn and problem solve with people's time before you're dealing with this stage of construction than it is to get this far and then think, oh, gee, we should have thought about X.
Yeah.
And we didn't. We didn't work that out all the way. So, and of course, the higher your ambitions in terms of the green performance of a project, the more crucial that is, because you don't achieve efficiency or high levels of efficiency and performance by doing the same old things the same old ways.
So integrated design is important on big small homes and small homes. This happens to be a rather large home, but just as important to have integrated design.